Revealed: Ginger's incredible journey from 12 weeks of practice to a life-changing home run. In the sleepy town of Maplewood, Ohio, the air was thick with the smell of freshly brewed coffee. Ginger, a 35-year-old single mother, drained every bit of energy from her 2 jobs, at the diner by day and the grocery store by night. Yet every sunrise brought infinite love for her 2 children, Bella, 10, and Noah, 8. Exhaustion hung heavy like a winter blanket, but in the quiet moments, she summoned laughter from her kids, spinning tales about their grandfather, the baseball player who once lived his dreams under the bright sun. One fateful day, Ginger ventured into her late father's dilapidated barn to sift through forgotten relics of the past. Sunlight crept through the cracks, illuminating the dust that danced in the air, and there it was, an old baseball glove, its leather worn yet vibrant with memories. Gazing at the glove awakened a dormant passion in her. Dreams she once held were swirling back like the leaves in autumn. 12 weeks stretched before the Maplewood Family Fun Day, and in a moment of bold determination, she announced to her children that she would reclaim the game she had cast aside years ago. Bella's eyes sparkled with excitement, while Noah shrugged, skeptical. Yet the seed was planted. But with every step forward came whispers of doubt from her family, who warned that dreams like these tend to lead to heartbreak. Mr. Thompson, her boss, piled on the anxiety like an avalanche, insisting she should set aside such frivolities and focus on climbing the career ladder. The weight of daily responsibilities bore down on her, yet each night she found solace on the field, slowly molding her skills. But during her first practice game, under a glaring sun surrounded by curious faces, hope melted into despair. With each ball thrown her way, she missed, uncertainty twisting in her gut like a knife. Murmurs erupted from town members, skepticism dripped like rain, drowning her spirit. Just as ambiguities began to fracture her resolve, she met Frank, a stoic war veteran with lines etched deep from battles both on and off the field. Frank understood her struggle, the judgment that wrapped around her like a tight belt. He stepped in as a mentor, guiding her between laughter and stern lessons, revealing the camaraderie that baseball once fostered in his life. Their friendship formed a bond fortified by shared resilience, breathing life into her faded dreams. But still, doubt loomed large. Relatives repeated cautions about sticking to what was stable, and her obligations as a mother. Yet every time she laced up her trainers, visions of Bella and Noah cheering fueled her fire to continue. She was not only chasing an old dream, she was weaving a new legacy. The Family Fun Day arrived, bright and bustling. Ginger stood at the edge of the diamond, the sun glaring down like a spotlight searching for its star. Heart pounding, expectations swirling. Thousands of doubts threatened to drown her confidence. With every gaze fixed on her, she felt both the weight of the moment and the collective hopes of her community. As the baseball sailed toward her, time stood still. A reflection of her life flashed in an instant. Love, struggle, resilience, the simple yet profound pursuit of hope. In that crucial moment, as she swung her bat, the world held its breath. Where would the swing land? Would it fulfill her dreams, or would it leave her standing, empty-handed? The crack of the bat echoed through the park like thunder. Ginger felt the jolt race up her arms, and the moment the ball made contact, everything else faded away. The world blurred around her, the onlookers, the noise, even the suffocating weight of expectations. Time slowed, and in that instant, only the ball and her swing existed. It soared into the sky, a clear arc against the blue. Gasps floated up from the crowd, quickly swallowed by utter amazement. For the first time in years, she felt a rush of pure exhilaration. Hope surged within her, lifting her spirits like the autumn breeze that sometimes carried dreams. She ran, her feet pounding the earth, while the loyal shouts of her children filled her ears, drowning out the earlier snickers and whispers of doubt that had followed her each step of the way. Ginger rounded first base, still in awe. Yet, as she hit second, a flicker of uncertainty crept back in. Was this just a fluke? Was the castle built on a shaky foundation? But then she saw Bella and Noah jumping excitedly beyond the dugout, their joy wrapping around her like a warm blanket. With third base ahead, she pushed herself harder. Memories flooded her mind of playing in the field as a child at her father's side, the thrill of the game painting over shadows of her adult worries. Every stride felt like a victory, every cheer from the crowd igniting a flame within her she thought was long extinguished. But as she approached home plate, a shadow passed over her enthusiasm. She skidded to a halt, breathless, just as a hard, excited shout came from the field. Frank stood a few feet away, his face lit with encouragement. "You've got this, Ginger. Finish strong." This was it. No more waiting, no more holding back. She had started this journey for a reason, not just for herself, but for her children, and she was done letting fears dictate her path. Taking a deep breath, she dashed through the final few feet, arms stretched wide in reconciliation with her own ambitions. The ball, though, was on a trajectory too. In a heart-stopping moment, it sailed into the outfield, and the cheers erupted like fireworks. She crossed the plate, the weight of doubt lifting for the first time in her adult life. Cheers filled the air. Real, raw, beautiful. The sound of a community coming together. As she turned to meet Bella's and Noah's true admiration, a new rush of emotions flooded through her. Suddenly, they weren't just her children. They were her biggest fans, the generation she wanted to inspire. Tears filled her eyes, a potent mix of joy and relief. She hadn't just hit a home run, she'd hit a reset button in her heart and life. But even as the echoes of applause danced around her, whispers of doubt still lingered like shadows on the edge of her victory. Would her family accept this new version of her? Would she be able to balance this newfound passion with the life she had built around them? As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the diamond, she gathered her kids close, whispering silent promises of adventures yet to come. Her heart swelled, knowing this was only the beginning. There would be challenges ahead, facing the naysayers and proving to herself as much as to others that she was capable. But for now, all she could think about was the thrill of the game and how far she was willing to chase her dreams. Could this be the moment that finally changed the tide for Ginger? The next challenge loomed ahead, and she could feel it waiting, ready to test her resolve in ways she hadn't yet imagined. The smell of popcorn and cotton candy wafted through the air as the crowd began to disperse after the exhilarating game. Ginger stood still at home plate, her heart still racing, anchored in the moment of her triumph. The park around her seemed to pulse with energy, a blend of laughter and chatter as families packed their things, sharing smiles and stories from the game. But within her, questions churned. Shouldn't this feeling be enough? Why did a nagging voice whisper that the doubts weren't finished with her yet? She wrapped an arm around Bella, who smiled brightly, her cheeks flushed with excitement. Noah stood nearby with a mixture of pride and admiration, eyes wide, like they had just witnessed a magic trick. "Mama, you were awesome!" exclaimed Bella, bouncing on her toes. "You really hit it far, like way past the trees." "Yeah, I thought you were going to hit the moon," Noah chimed in, beaming. Their joy radiated through her, filling the crevices of uncertainty, but Ginger's own heart still danced between pride and panic. "Thanks, you two," she said softly, kneeling to meet their eye level. "I couldn't have done it without your cheers." A glimmer caught her eye from the corner of the diamond where her team was starting to gather. Frank was calling her over, a wide grin plastered on his face, the same one that made her heart flutter since the first moment they met. He waved her over, and she felt a bit of strength return. "Hey, you nailed it out there," he shouted, his voice warm and genuine, cutting through the lingering voices of doubt. "When did you get that swing back?" "I think it just needed a little rust knocked off," she replied, her smile returning with full force. "And some encouragement from my kids, of course." "Do you realize what you just did?" he asked with excitement.
You turned this crowd around. You reminded everyone what it means to dream again. It's about more than just this game. It's about chasing what feels impossible. She glanced around, seeing the smiling faces, the sparkle in her children's eyes, and felt that pulse of hope inside her. It dawned on her how this moment wasn't isolated. She had touched something deep in her community, something they could rally behind together. But then, just as quickly, self-doubt pricked at her conscience. What if it was just a fluke, she murmured, glancing down at her cleats as if they would give her an answer. "Let them doubt all they want," Frank said, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You did this for you. Anyone who doesn't see that is already lost." That moment planted a seed within her. What if she truly believed that? What if instead of collapsing under the weight of expectations, she could rise to meet them head on? For the first time, she felt an inkling of confidence tethering her old self to this new chapter, even as trepidation buzzed like static in her chest.
As they stood together, a laugh erupted from the other players, drawing her gaze back. She could see them preparing for a post-game celebration, and the thought sent a thrill through her. Maybe she could join in. Maybe she could establish new friendships, show them who she really was. She just needed to hold on to this hope. "Are you ready to be part of this community?" Frank asked, breaking her reverie. Her heart raced again. This was a question laced with so much possibility. She squeezed her children's hands tighter, looking down into their eager faces. "More than ready," she replied brightly, catching Frank's eye and feeling a warmth shoot through her. But even as she embraced the moment, she sensed another challenge waiting. Questions loomed. Would the past let her go? Could the love of a family, the hopes for a new life, withstand scrutiny and judgment? The sun dipped lower, wrapping the field in a golden glow, signaling the end of this chapter, while hinting at the one still to come. Was this community truly ready to embrace the Ginger she was becoming? And would they stand with her when the tides turned again? The post-game celebration was in full swing, bursting with laughter and shared stories that flitted through the balmy evening air. Ginger felt buoyed by the surge of energy around her as she joined the circle of players and families gathering for food and festivities. Still, a tremor of uncertainty moved through her. This feeling of belonging was new and edged with anxiety. "All right, team, gather around," Frank's voice rang out, igniting her spirit. He was animated, waving his arms like an orchestra conductor, ready to lead them into a symphony of joy. As she stood among familiar and unfamiliar faces, they cheered and clapped for one another, shared highlights from the game, and teased each other about missed plays. But while everyone else leaned into the camaraderie, Ginger remained slightly detached, an observer among participants. "Come on, Ginger, we want to hear your story," one of her teammates shouted, urging her on. The cheer echoed through her, coaxing her closer to the warmth she craved. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, feeling both exhilarated and terrified. "Well, it's been a long road back for me," she began, her voice steadying as she recalled the months of practice. "Before this, I didn't even know if I had it in me anymore." The crowd leaned in, a palpable curiosity hanging in the air as she continued. 12 weeks ago, I started practicing again. Every swing felt like a fight against my own doubts, and honestly, the fear of failing always lurked in the back of my mind. She caught Frank's eye, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze. That warm, encouraging smile that reassured her was now joining the crowd, igniting something deep within. Today, it felt different. It felt like everyone was right there with me, pushing me forward. It was beyond a game. It was about hope, about what we can achieve if we don't let fear hold us back. And if I can do it, so can you. The words floated out and hung between them, a tenuous thread binding her to this community. Teammates erupted in applause, and a newfound sense of acceptance surged within her. Bella tugged on her sleeve, grinning from ear to ear. "Everyone loves you, Mama. You're a hero." For the first time, the full weight of that title crashed down on her. A hero? It felt both exhilarated and terrified. As the celebration swirled around her, lively chatter about next week's practice, laughter punctuating every corner, Ginger clutched Bella and Noah closer, immersing herself in the buoyancy of love and support enveloping them. But the echoes of the game had shifted something inside her. What would it mean to truly embrace this journey? What would it take to step into the light fully and unapologetically? Without warning, her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden shout from Frank, his voice rising above the crowd. "Hey everyone, I have an idea. How about we dive into some friendly competitions next week? Maybe a home run derby?" Cheers erupted. Boys and girls alike clamored for the chance to showcase their skills. But for Ginger, the idea of competition felt both exciting and daunting. Would she measure up? Would those whispers of doubt rise again? The thrill of the prospect clashed with the tug of fear in her gut, a battle she hadn't quite expected. Yet in that moment, the potential shimmered like fireflies in the dusk. So much was still ahead. Could she face whatever came with faith in herself? She looked at her kids, joy echoing in their giggles and shouts, and felt that tiny spark of confidence kindle in her. This was a turning point. "Count me in," she shouted, feeling the pulse of resolution in her heart. As the crowd rejoiced, her laughter rose to meet theirs. But just beneath the surface, uncertainty lingered. What would she discover about herself when the games began? Would she manage to silence her fears once and for all? The night was still young, but the countdown to their challenges had begun, and Ginger felt a bit more alive than before. The following week came like a whirlwind, charged with anticipation. Ginger found herself caught between a stream of excitement and a creeping dread that felt like a shadow lurking behind her. Every time she dedicated time to practice, the thrill of the home run derby loomed larger, overshadowing her earlier confidence. The sun hung high in the sky on the day of the event, casting a warm glow over the field. The sweet scent of cut grass mixed with the more rich, earthy aroma of the sun on the ground. Families were gathering, bringing coolers filled with drinks and snacks, setting the perfect vibe with children running and laughing all around. Ginger stood by the sidelines, her heart thudding as she watched the others swing at practice pitches, connecting soundly with the ball, the crack echoing like a celebration. It was exhilarating and utterly terrifying at the same time. "No pressure, right?" she muttered to Bella, who was munching on a bag of popcorn. "It's just a home run derby." Bella, unfazed and full of youthful innocence, chimed back, "Mama, you're so great. You just have to have fun." "Fun," Ginger echoed, her lips twitching into a smile despite the knot tightening in her stomach. She watched as Noah joined other kids, joining in on the laughter. His joy sparked something. Could she find that same lightheartedness? As warm-up time dwindled, Frank's voice echoed across the field, rallying the crowd. "All right, everyone, we're about to begin. Who's ready to hit some home runs?" A wave of cheers erupted. Teammates, families, and friends filled the stands. Ginger swallowed hard. Would her moment come? Would she crumble under the weight of expectations? Finally, it was her turn. Standing at the plate, bat gripped tightly in her hands, she could feel the intensity of dozens of eyes on her. Heart racing, she adjusted her stance, inhaling deeply to drown out the noise. "Just remember why you're here," she whispered to herself. The pitcher threw the first ball. It soared through the air, and for a split second, everything felt still. With a decisive swing, Ginger connected. The sweet sound reverberated through her, making her spine tingle as the ball flew high into the afternoon sky. Her heart soared with it. This was what she had been practicing for. The crowd erupted, those cheers feeding her spirit like fuel to a fire. But a flicker of doubt shot through her as she watched the ball fly. Would it go far enough? Did she touch everyone's hearts? She recalled the faces of her teammates, their smiles, their cheers. They weren't just watching to see a home run. They were there to witness her journey.
Her second swing wasn't as successful. The ball snagged at the edge of the bat and tumbled awkwardly to the ground. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The uncertainty came roaring back. But instead of retreating into herself, a wave of warmth surged over her. It was in that moment of imperfection that she felt supported. The crowd cheered louder, encouraging her to try again. What had felt like failure began to transform into something else. She was part of this, with all its ups and downs. After a few swings, she connected again. The ball spiraled out, heading toward the edge of the outfield. It didn't matter where it landed. What mattered was that she was here, feeling alive and brave in front of everyone she loved. As the cheers filled her ears, a realization settled deep within her. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about showing up, facing the fear, and finding joy in the journey. Ginger grinned, savoring the rush of practicing with her kids watching. The echoes of cheers turned into a melody of possibilities in her heart. This was her new norm, a bond strengthening with each swing. And as the final ball flew into the sky, she knew she would carry this moment far beyond the field. Still, what lay ahead in that wild journey of being a hero, of being her true self? She turned toward the gathered crowd, their faces filled with encouragement, and excitement danced in her heart, knowing the most challenging part was yet to come. Would she dare to show up for whatever next awaited her? The last echoes of the crowd's cheers mingled with the lingering aroma of summer, creating an atmosphere charged with possibility. But beneath it all, there was something deeper stirring within Ginger. The moment might have felt like a grand finale, but she knew the performance had only just begun. As she stepped off the field, her heart pounded, a mix of adrenaline and anticipation coursing through her. Noah ran toward her, a wide grin plastered on his face, his excitement contagious. "Mama, you did awesome! Did you see how far it went?" he exclaimed, breathless with joy. Ginger bent down, pulling him into a tight embrace. "Thanks, buddy. It felt amazing."
Bella joined in, wrapping her little arms around them both. "Next year you will hit 100 home runs." Ginger laughed. The playful confidence in her children lifted her spirits even more. But as they walked back toward the stands, her mind began to wander beyond the day's triumphs. What did it mean to keep facing fears, to keep striving? If anything, this event had taught her that fear could wind an endless chain, or it could light a fire, and she was ready for the flame now. Just then, Frank called her over. He beamed, a glimmer of pride in his eyes. "Ginger, I wanted to say how much everyone enjoyed your performance. You turned it into something special." "Thank you, Frank. I had fun," she replied. But his tone shifted her focus. He leaned a little closer. "Have you thought about joining the adult league next fall? You've got talent." Her stomach tied in knots at the idea, but at the same time, a flicker of excitement ignited within her. Could she really? Would it be selfish to pursue her passion like that? "Me?" she stammered, unsure of how to respond. "Absolutely. You bring a great energy to the field. A lot of women would love to have you." Ginger tried to process his words as she walked back, hand in hand with Noah and Bella. A dream sprouted in her mind, mingling with the seeds of fear that had been planted for all these years. A silent battle brewed, a tug-of-war between safety and adventure. Later that evening, the family gathered around their small kitchen table, remnants of the Derby day still buzzing in the air. With wide eyes, Bella recounted the day's events, animatedly demonstrating her favorite swings. Noah listened, soaking it all in, occasionally sharing his own highlights. Ginger watched her kids with a bittersweet feeling, awash in love yet wrestling with uncertainty. "Mama, you get to play next time, right?" Noah asked, innocence filling his voice. Ginger's heart sank slightly. What if she didn't? What if anxiety once again held her captive? "Well, let's see what happens," she replied, trying to muster the excitement she wasn't sure she felt. As they finished dinner, she caught sight of her reflection in the window, no longer just a mom, but also a participant in her own story. What if she did join that league? That simple thought turned into a light, urging her towards something bigger than herself. Later that night, while tucking her kids in, she paused at the door, contemplating. "Good night, love bugs," she whispered, leaning back with a soft smile. "Good night, Mama," they chimed together, their sleepy voices lifting her spirit. Stepping into the hallway, she couldn't shake the growing warmth pulsing within. Could she really embrace this new chapter? The truth was starting to feel inevitable, a transformation waiting just beyond her comfort zone. That night, Ginger lay awake, staring at the ceiling, her mind lost in thought. The idea of the adult league flickered in her mind like a light on the verge of turning green. What awaited her on the other side of that leap? Tomorrow, she would have to make a choice, a decision that could change everything. Would she take a chance to chase something more? The thought both thrilled and terrified her. Ginger closed her eyes, fully aware that the next twist in her journey was just beginning. Get ready, she thought. It was time to rise to the occasion. What if this was just the start of her true adventure? The morning sun streamed through Ginger's bedroom window, casting warm rays across her face. She woke feeling different, like a tightly wound coil, ready to spring free. Today was the day she had decided to step into her own life. Sitting up, she felt that flicker of courage again, sparking the growing desire to chase after that dream Frank had ignited. After getting the kids ready for school, she couldn't shake the conversation from the night before. Join the adult league. The words echoed in her mind like a catchy tune. As she packed Noah's lunch, a thought surfaced. What if being a part of that league wasn't just about playing baseball? What if it was about setting an example for her children, too? Showing them that pursuing dreams was not a whimsical notion, but a value worth fighting for. "Mama, can I hold your bat?" Noah's voice pulled her from her thoughts. "Sure, buddy." She handed him her favorite bat, worn but sturdy, a symbol of her own passion. Watching him swing it, pretending to hit home runs just like she did yesterday, filled Ginger with warmth. "Someday I want to hit just like you," Noah exclaimed, eyes gleaming with admiration. She smiled, his innocence reminding her that chasing dreams wasn't just for her, it was for all of them. After the kids headed to school, Ginger found herself wandering out to the backyard. The sun blazed overhead, filling her with energy. She picked up the bat and held it in her hands, feeling its weight. It felt good, a reminder of who she was and who she could be. As she took practice swings, her heart raced like it had during yesterday's game. Each swing broke through her hesitation, the rhythm grounding her. She paused between swings, glancing up at the sky, feeling the burden of doubt lift. "I can do this," she whispered to herself, the words barely escaping her lips. The phone buzzed in her pocket, disrupting the moment. It was Frank, asking if she'd thought more about the league. Sitting there, warm gusts of wind swirling around her, she took a deep breath and texted back, "I'm in." The message sent a thrill through her, a mix of excitement and trepidation. What lay ahead was entirely unknown. Would she be able to rise to the challenges? Her past anxieties nagged at her, but this time something inside belted louder, not just for a game, but for a new identity. As the days rolled by, Ginger committed herself to practice. Every chance she got, she'd step outside, bat in hand, the sun kissing her cheeks while the thrill of hitting the ball with fierce determination fed her energy. After the kids were tucked in, she'd sneak out to the backyard under the stars, letting the cool night air fill her lungs as she embraced the catharsis of chasing that elusive dream. Weeks passed like seconds, and every practice became a stepping stone to something greater. Slowly, the pitch of self-doubt began to subside, replaced by anticipation. The kids watched in awe as she poured herself into her practice. With their encouragement, Ginger could feel herself changing. And then one evening, as she was finishing up, Bella walked out onto the porch, clutching a crayon drawing. "Mama, look, it's you." Ginger took it, her heart swelling.
The stick figure had a bat in hand and a huge smile on her face. Beneath, it read, "I believe you can." Tears stung the back of Ginger's eyes, the sweetness of her daughter's belief igniting a resolve in her. If Bella believed she could, who was Ginger to question it? Later that night, as she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, a new thought bubbled to the surface. What if joining the league was more than just personal growth? What if it could inspire others in the community? Maybe she could be part of something bigger. Tomorrow was the day of the meeting, where she'd sign up for the league. There was no turning back now. Excitement twisted within her, a thrill mixed with anxiety. Would she feel the same rushing adrenaline that strengthened her each day? As she closed her eyes, anticipation swirled around her, blending hope with fear. Her heart raced with the thought of all that was to come. What kind of stories would she write for herself and her family? This journey was just beginning, and the next chapter lay waiting ahead. What awaited her on the field of dreams? Ginger woke up with a jolt, the realization of the day crashing down on her like a wave. Today was the day. She threw the covers off, and the cool air of the morning clashed with the heat of her racing heart. The meeting was just hours away. She got up and quickly moved through her morning routine, the mundane motions carrying an electric charge that hadn't been there before. In the kitchen, she filled the air with the familiar sounds of breakfast, a rhythmic clatter of pans and cheerful chatter of the kids. Noah and Bella were sipping milk while digging into their cereals, blissfully unaware of the pirate treasure their mom was about to discover. "Mama, are you excited for your big meeting?" Bella asked, putting down her spoon and gazing wide-eyed at Ginger. "Can't wait," Ginger replied, a smile growing on her face. "Are you going to hit home runs?" Noah chimed in, a grin stretching ear to ear. "Absolutely," she said, her confidence bubbling over. Today she would join not just for herself, but for them too. Once the kids were off to school, a palpable energy filled her as she grabbed her bat. The backyard felt different today. The grass seemed greener, the sun brighter, and even the air smelled sweeter. With every swing she took, doubt began to dissolve, replaced by excitement and a fierce determination. But just then, a shadow loomed. Her neighbor, Mrs. Hargrove, emerged, glasses perched on her nose and a curious tilt in her head. "What's this? A new baseball player in our midst?" Ginger stiffened at first, but then she straightened her shoulders. "Yeah, I'm joining the adult league." Mrs. Hargrove raised an eyebrow. "Oh, that sounds interesting." There was a hint of skepticism in her voice. Ginger felt an itch of doubt creep back, but she shook it off. "It is. I've been practicing every day. I want to show my kids what chasing dreams looks like." Mrs.
Hargrove softened, perhaps seeing the fire in Ginger's eyes. "Well, I think that's wonderful. Just make sure you stay safe out there." The brief exchange filled Ginger with warmth as she practiced her swings. The gentle breeze brushed her cheek, encouraging, reminding her of how far she had come. When she finally arrived at the community center that evening, her heartbeat quickened. The room buzzed with nervous laughter and conversations, just like the field she envisioned. She spotted Frank leaning against a wall, his bright smile shining like a beacon. "Hey, Ginger, glad you came," he called, walking over. "Thanks for encouraging me," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "This is really important to me." As they filled out forms and mingled, a gentle tide of camaraderie wrapped around her. Each smile exchanged felt like a swing of the bat, breaking down the barriers she built over the years. Then Frank asked, "What do you want to achieve this season?" Ginger thought about it and replied, I want to show my kids, and everyone really, that it's never too late to chase after what makes you happy." Frank nodded, his eyes shining with understanding. "That's a home run of a goal, and I think you're going to hit it out of the park." Feeling a rush of confidence, Ginger's laughter bubbled to the surface. She was stepping into her life, ready to embrace the challenges and triumphs, all the while fueled by the love of her family and the support of her community. When the meeting ended, she was filled with anticipation for the season ahead. But as she walked to her car, a nagging thought surfaced again. What if she couldn't do it? What if she fell short? A whisper of hesitation echoed in her mind, but she brushed it away. One thing was becoming clear. She wouldn't just be stepping up to the plate for herself. She was doing it for every mom, every woman who felt unseen, unheard. As she drove home, her phone rang. It was Bella, and her excited voice filled Ginger's ears. "Mama, can you take us to the park after dinner? We want to see you practice." The sweetness of that moment washed over her. "Of course. Get ready to cheer on your mom." As she hung up, her heart soared again. Ginger realized the league wasn't just about the game. It was a chance to build a legacy, showing her children what bravery looked like. With every swing, she was hitting more than just baseballs. She was hitting for them, for herself, and for every dream waiting to come alive. Just as she parked the car, a chill ran down her spine. What if this journey revealed something deeper within her? Something she had lost long ago? Ginger couldn't help but smile at the thought. What awaited her on this adventure? A home run? A challenge? Or perhaps a heart-wrenching revelation? She could hardly wait to find out. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the neighborhood. Ginger stood at the park, the scent of freshly mowed grass filling her lungs as she adjusted her cap. It felt surreal to be here, bat in hand, with her children watching. Bella and Noah were perched on a nearby bench, eyes sparkling with excitement and curiosity. "Are you going to show us your best swing, Mama?" Bella shouted, her voice ringing out like sweet music. "You bet," Ginger replied, her heart racing at the prospect, not just of swinging the bat, but of being a role model for them. She took a deep breath and focused. One swing at a time, that was all it took. The first swing felt awkward, her muscles tensed with anticipation, but with each follow-through, she started to feel more in tune with the rhythm. It was as if the days of practice were coiling up inside her, ready to spring forth at any moment. Noah jumped up. "Try harder, Mom. You're getting better." His innocent encouragement sent a ripple of warmth through her. She smiled back, her nerves fading. The sun cast a perfect spotlight on her, and for a moment it felt like the whole world was hers to conquer. With a determined nod, she stepped up, gripping the bat tightly. The next swing connected with perfect timing, sending the ball soaring through the air. Time seemed to stretch as she watched it sail, a small triumph that brought her to life. "Yes!" she shouted, the word echoed back to her by the wind. Noah mimicked her victory pose, pumping his fist in the air. "That was awesome!" Ginger's laugh bubbled over, a genuine sound of joy mixed with disbelief at her own progress. Each swing felt more fluid, more empowered. They practiced for an hour as the sun sank lower, casting playful shadows and laughter across the park. But as the last rays of light glimmered, doubt began to sneak back in. What if she built this dream on a shaky foundation? What if her swing faded when put to the test? She paused, bat resting on her shoulder, her breath hitching in her throat. "Mom, you okay?" Bella asked, her young face concerned. "Of course, sweetie. Just thinking," Ginger replied, forcing a smile. It was more than that, though. She was grappling with the fear of failure. A part of her wondered if it was worth it to chase this dream. Was she setting herself up for disappointment? But then she looked at her children, their faces bright with admiration. What if I could show them that failing is just a part of getting better? That sparked a flicker of hope within her. She needed to push past these doubts. She wanted to show them that taking risks was part of living fully. "Let's try one last round," she declared, finding the fire within. The children cheered, their excitement fueling her spirit. With renewed energy, she took her stance again. It felt like more than just a practice swing. It was the rhythm of her life, a chance to confront what she had kept buried for so long. Her swing connected once more, but this time it felt different. She wasn't just hitting a ball, she was breaking through her own limitations. As they wrapped up, exhaustion mingled with exhilaration, and Ginger could see pride glowing in her children's eyes. They ran to her, wrapping their arms around her. "You are amazing," Noah shouted. "I'm proud of you, Mama," Bella added, and those words washed over Ginger like a soothing balm. Yet, as they walked home, a deep yearning stirred within her. Was this joy and accomplishment enough? A thought lingered like a whisper in the back of her mind. What if this was just the beginning? When they got home, an envelope addressed to her lay on the kitchen counter. The ink looked familiar. Ginger's heart raced again as she picked it up. What could it be? Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it. What new possibilities awaited her inside that envelope? She needed to know. Inside the envelope, Ginger found a letter inviting her to an upcoming community sports festival. The details painted a picture of a day filled with activities, competitions, and the promise of showcasing one's skills. But amid the excitement of the invitation lingered a familiar knot in her stomach. A mix of fear and exhilaration hummed just beneath the surface. "Can I see, Mama?" Bella questioned, her tiny fingers reaching for the letter, eyes wide with curiosity. "This is from the sports festival at the end of the month. It's an invite." Ginger tried to keep her voice steady. "I can sign up to play." "Are you going to?" Noah chimed in, bouncing on his toes. Ginger took a breath. The thought of standing in front of a crowd, swinging for all to see, made her heart race. Yet the vision of her children cheering for her wrapped around her like a warm embrace, kindling a spark of courage. "I think I will," she said, sensing a wave of resolve wash over her. "I'm going to sign up." The words were out before she could second-guess herself. Suddenly, her world didn't seem so daunting. She envisioned the festival, the energy of the crowd, the feeling of connection to everyone rooting for one another. It was not just about her dream anymore. It was about bringing everyone together, sharing joy, and inspiring others to pursue their own passions. In the following days, Ginger poured herself into practice, sharpening her skills and focusing on hitting the ball with precision. Each evening, with Bella and Noah cheering her on, she embraced the possibility of success. The fun and laughter echoed around them as she faced down fears that once seemed insurmountable. The day of the festival arrived, bright and warm. The park unfolded before her, filled with families enjoying the festivities, the air buzzing with laughter and excitement. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from pure thrill. Today was more than just about playing. It was about showing up fully for herself and her kids. Her children were right there, perched on the sidelines with a crowd of friends and family.
They clutched signs decorated in bright colors that read, "Go, Mom, go!" Ginger felt her heart swell. The overwhelming love wrapped around her like a protective bubble, infusing her with confidence. As she stepped up to the plate, the sounds of the festival faded into the background. It was just her, the bat, and the sweet anticipation of the pitch. Each swing was not just a reflection of her journey. It represented every woman, every mother, who felt unsure of pursuing their dreams. Then it happened. The ball sliced through the air with a crisp swing that sent it soaring high into the blue sky. The crowd erupted into cheers. Her family's voices rang out above the rest, lifting her spirit to new heights. With every base she ran, the past washed away. It was just her, the mother, the player, the dreamer. She crossed home plate, panting and laughing, swooping into the arms of her children. "You did it, Mama!" Noah shouted, joy radiating from his little face. "I told you that you could." Bella bounced up and down, her excitement infectious. Tears welled up in Ginger's eyes, not just from the joy of winning the moment, but from the realization of how far she had come. She looked deeper into their eyes. Her heart felt full. She hadn't just played a game. She had ignited a flame of belief within her children. Reveling in the moment, she turned to face the crowd, her resolve solid. "This isn't just my victory, it's ours," she shouted. Tears streamed down her face, joining the laughter flowing around her. Dreams are worth chasing, no matter how old you are or how many obstacles you face. Let's all go after what makes us happy. The crowd erupted in applause, shouts of agreement echoing into the air like fireworks. In that moment, she felt connected to every one of them. She wasn't alone anymore. This was a new chapter for her and for everyone she inspired. That day shifted something deep within her. It opened a door to new possibilities. With every cheer and every hug from her children, Ginger knew she wasn't just a mother running towards dreams. She was a beacon of hope for her community. And in the future, she would take them all along for the ride. "Let's go practice, Mom," Bella exclaimed. Ginger looked at her kids, her heart full of love and courage. "Absolutely.
We're just getting started. The journey had only begun, but this time it was together, filled with hope, laughter, and the unwavering belief that they could all hit home runs in whatever game life threw their way. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ensure that more journeys like Ginger's are shared. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let's celebrate together. And don't wait, not even one more second, to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. They deserve to be inspired, just like Ginger.